Happy Thanksgiving week. I want to take these first couple of posts and talk about the book of Revelation. Cat's out of the bag. I said, I don't believe that there's a great tribulation, a 7-year great tribulation coming. And I think that that probably bothers some of you. And here's the idea. The idea is that we in America, we are just so adverse to suffering. And yet throughout the course of 2,000 years of our faith, the majority of people who have been believers have suffered greatly for their faith, have suffered and have come to Christ in countries where they have nothing, where there's poverty and all these different things. And their normal baseline is just suffering. And for us, we just think, oh no, God wouldn't want us to suffer. No, God wouldn't want us to suffer. And we have this sort of idea that suffering is so bad. And yet the New Testament's treatment of suffering, of persecution, of affliction, of all these different kinds of things, of thlipsis, that's that word, that crushing kind of pressure. The New Testament impression of thlipsis is that God actually works through it and that God is working something beautiful in it rather than us having to do everything that we can to get out of that. And I think that our aversion to suffering causes us, quite frankly, not to see what God is actually doing in the revelation. And that more than that, more important than that, what's important to see is it causes us not to see what God is doing with us in the present tense. In the present tense, God is using the struggles and the things that you're going through to create something of real beauty, of lasting substance, of Christ likeness inside of you. You got to know that. That is part of the way that God works, is that suffering and grief and loss and all of these different things seem so permanent here on earth, and yet pale to eternity. They just don't have the same kind of impact when it comes to thinking of ourselves as eternal beings, as going on into what comes after your last breath with God. That God is using our present struggles to create in us a glory that's beyond comparison. And this is part of the way that he works.